Welcome to the Goat Shed. So today is our monthly broadcast we do on the first Saturday of every month, or we try to. And today I'm on my own. Graham and Spanky have gone away. Now, about 384 kilometres north of us here is a coastal town of Coffs Harbour. And as the name implies, that's got a harbour. And you know, my friends in America, we spell it H-A-R-B-O-U-R, not H-A-R-B-O-R, just incidentally. There's a little mini pinball show on up there. Graham went up to this last year. He took Spanky with him. He's gone up with another one of our devotees here, a guy called Brett. And that starts at 11 a.m. today, so approximately 2 hours from now. And it's just a one-day event, so they left yesterday. Now, today is April 6th, 2024. It's a Saturday morning here, 9 a.m. So on the east coast of America, it's 6 p.m. on Friday. We've got about 18 degrees Celsius here, and that equates to about 64.4 degrees Fahrenheit. A hell of a lot of rain yesterday. We expected more today, but it's cleared up at about 3:30 a.m. this morning. We had anywhere between 70 and 100 mils, depending on where you were. Now, that's an awful lot of rain. We had an east coast low come over us and stirs up the ocean and gives us a lot of bad weather, rain, etc., etc. So they had to drive up to Coffs Harbour in all that rain. Slow trip. It's about, as I say, it's about a 4-hour trip up there in good weather. You know, it may have taken a little longer. Pit stops, let Spanky go to the pub occasionally, and all in all, let us lead the fellows astray. So yeah, that event's on today, and they'll return home tomorrow, being Sunday, and back to work on Monday. Now, we've had an interesting March. We completed a couple of jobs, pro football, a magnetron, and we started a spinner card, which you can just see the spinner card there over my right shoulder. There it is. That's all up and running now. Fair bit of work involved in that. Quite a lot, actually. We did a video, or 2 videos on spinner card. One we just put up yesterday. Now, we have viewers from all over the world on our YouTube channel. And occasionally people reach out to us for different reasons, and I guess common interest of pinball machines. And just before I go on to, I think we've got a few people viewing. I hope I'm clear, and I'm not on the back veranda today. I'm actually in the goat shed. Like a while ago, we had installed a booster closer to the house in the front shed to give a signal. So yeah, I hope it's okay. Could you someone just type up there and let me know that if it's all right, please, so we can have a little look. Thank you. One thing that happens to us from time to time is, okay, Jim, yeah, looks great, yeah, thank you, excellent, rightio, that's good, we're all the way there. I've just got to, works great, yeah, oh, excellent, rightio. I've just got to find something here. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Right. You're looking at a Kansas City Chiefs cap. Now, the reason you're looking at those, or that, is there was two sent to us. Graham has the other one. I'm going to hang this in my garage, which is my games room. So we have a viewer, and I'm not sure if he's with us today, but his name's Kevin Caldwell. And Kevin is from Kansas City, Missouri, in the suburb of Raytown. Now, obviously, he was explaining to me in a letter that he only lives 2 miles from the Arrowhead Stadium. And I guess we can see the Arrowhead here with the Kansas City in the middle, the Chiefs. And of course, LV, I think that's 58th Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs came from behind and booted the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl. Wow. And Kevin gave me some good advice. He said, if you do go to the USA, whatever you do, don't wear that in California. And I guess that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So look, we thank Kevin for his gift, and Kevin, he also asked for a goat shed sign, which we've actually sent to him. We have more of those on order. I've said this before, and we were supposed to have received them by now. They haven't arrived. We're chasing that up next week again with the guy that supplies them. There was some wharf strike somewhere recently, I don't know where, and supposedly they got held up in that. But there you go. So, and we've also learned a little bit about different parts of America. Now, it's funny, in the letter he sent me, he said Kansas City is also known for its famous barbecue restaurants. Now, interestingly enough, I had to go to the chiropractor on Thursday just gone, and the chiropractor had an accent which I could tell was American, but I really didn't know where he came from. And I said, whereabouts are you from? And maybe I should have said, are you Canadian? That would have got him going, wouldn't it? And he explained to me that he was from Missouri, Kansas City. I said, oh, really? And I told him about the hats. And I told him also that I was going to visit the USA again later this year. Now, when I told him that, he said, man, he said, and he wrote me out a little note, you've got to go to this barbecue. And I guess Kevin would probably be aware of this, and maybe some other viewers. It was called Gates Barbecue. And he had suggested and advised strongly, he wrote in big letters, have the burnt ends. Now, okay, I'll take that on board. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to get to Kansas City. He said, but you've got to, you've got to go and have this delicacy. So I guess we'll get to try the burnt ends at some point in time. Now, I was just talking about Graham being away today, and what they're going to do a little later on today, so later on tonight in the USA, is a short video of this little event. It's called the Hoey Moey. Now, the Hoey Moey is a pub in Coffs Harbour. It's a famous old pub up there. It's been there since, I don't know, maybe the 50s or very early 60s. It's sort of like a backpacker's place now, but they're up there drinking beer, eating food, and playing the pinball machines. It's more of the solid state stuff, but there are some EMs, and one EM that is going up there is Target Pool, which we fully restored last year. That was the one that had the new playfield, back glass, everything, cabinet. It had the works, and people will get to enjoy that game up in Coffs Harbour. So have a look on our YouTube, Facebook group. I'm sorry, not our YouTube channel. That'll be posted on our Facebook group, a short video of that. Now, I mentioned earlier, we have a worldwide audience. So our biggest audience is the USA on YouTube. I'm just going to have a look at my cell phone here and open up the app. and I'll sort of be able to give you a bit of an idea of where our viewers come from. It's just interesting to know where people are looking at us from. Let's see, analytics, here we go. And we'll just go in here, and yeah, so, I mean, you get all this interesting information, like over the last 48 hours, we've had 475 people view our channel, and at one point we had up to 60 viewers, which is a fair few. Today, in the last 60 minutes, we've had 20 viewers, and that includes now people watching this live broadcast. But where our audience is from in the different countries is the United States. We've got 56% of viewers there. Next up is Canada with 5.7, and then Australia with 5%. Now this is currently, it changes. France, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, Italy, and I know we get people from Belgium. So that's quite a cross-section of people from around the world in this hobby. I know when we do Mark Gibson's Fun with Pinball coaching clinics once a month, we've had a guy on there recently a few times from Germany, and his name's Stefan, and I think by the time it starts in the USA, the Fun with Pinball clinic, it's about midnight in Munich where he resides, so we try and let him go first, because sometimes he's up to 2-3 o'clock in the morning getting advice on how to fix his games. So that's just an interesting analogy of where the people come from, and surprise, surprise, the 98.4% of our viewers are male, and the other 1.6% are female. So it's interesting to see that ladies get in and look at the channel, and user specified none. I'm not sure what that means. Anyway, yeah, so thanks to everyone that watches our YouTube channel. We get a lot of people sending us messages, particularly in the threads you can put in, thanking us for our videos, and people do that. It encourages us to do more videos and keep going. As you know, these videos that we do, they're not professionally produced. They're done on the fly, and sometimes we think, oh gee, we should do a video, and sometimes we've even fixed the machine, and then we think, oh, we really should have explained how to do that, so we go back and do all that sort of stuff for the viewers. So we were just talking about Mark Gibson's Fun with Pinball training courses there a moment ago, which are great. I think Mark's doing a bit of touring over in the US at the moment. I know there's a couple of pinball shows on. I'm not sure what they are. I do know, I have a list of them there somewhere, but he's doing some clinics there. He just done one at some other magnetic pinball place. I think he done one at Poughkeepsie, at Pinball Resource there recently. So he's on the road. So I guess we'll be doing another clinic later this month. But 2 weeks back, on a Saturday morning, we had a training course here. I think it was about the 11th or 12th course we've run. And by Chuck. And he's got to go back to work. Good, that's amazing. Work, no. So yeah, we had 5 people here. That was a successful course. Now, I just want to mention that when we advertise these courses, obviously we're located in Australia, and I think a lot of people that join our our Facebook group, the EM Pinball Repair Specialists, don't realise that we are in Australia. And how can I get into this course? When is it? When will the next one be? Will you be live streaming it? Now that's what I want to talk about. No, we won't be live streaming the courses. They're designed as a hands-on course. We can only fit no more than really 7 people in the course. 6 is ideal, 7 we can squeeze. But to be able to video it and make them live, what we'd have to do is have a videographer here. And I mean, we've got to pay someone to do that. the other thing is that the way we do the course, it would be difficult for the videographer to be able to get in and film everything. And the small parts we pass around to people. So we say, this is an FS relay, here's how it works, and we pass it to each student, and we just keep talking and they can look at how things work. So it's really, really difficult, and I'm afraid it's just something we won't be doing. I don't even own a laptop anymore. Well, I do, but it doesn't work all that good anymore. It's about 12, 13 year old. And I really don't want one. I worked in the office machine and computer industry for a long time, and I've got my mobile phone, my cell phone, and I got my tablet, which I'm broadcasting on now, and that sort of does me. So that's not what everyone wants to hear, that we won't be doing it that way, but what we have thought about doing is doing some snippets of the course and posting them on this channel, on the YouTube channel. So that could help people. But largely all the videos we have on the channel, which we've now got 236, and pretty well well over 200 of those, 210, are all about how to fix different things on pinball machines. Different step units, different relays, you name it, roto units. And we try and break them down simply so that people can understand how they work, how to pull them apart, put them back together, adjust them, lubricate them, and have them running well in your machine. So that's the thing about the training course. We're going to run another one of our training courses for anyone that might be locally viewing this coming June or July. So we'll endeavour to announce that like mid-May, because we'll do it toward the end of June or July, mid-May. We have had people say they're interested, but often when the time comes, people have made other plans, and we get that, you know. And if there's enough interest after that one, we'll run another one. We did hope to run 3-4 courses a year, but it just depends. It's supply and demand, I guess. How many people wish to do our courses. Now, I've got a few more messages here. Yeah, Jim says it was snowing in York, Pennsylvania this afternoon. So, wow, I was just about to ask, is it still snowing over there? Because I know in America, you know, your seasons aren't the sort of, where they're opposite to each other. So now we're started our fall. This is the second month of fall or autumn, and you're into your spring. But I know the seasons, like I think fall doesn't start in the US till about the 26th or 27th of September, whereas seasons here in Australia start on the first of the month. So in other words, winter will start on June 1. So June, July, August is winter. And then September, October, November is spring. December, January, February is summer. And March, April, May is autumn. So just over that date line, things change rather dramatically. So where we live, it doesn't snow. And it's quite funny. The first time I went to Pennsylvania in 2018, and where we went was York. We were staying at this Wyndham Hotel there, and I saw all the fire hydrants, you know, around this hotel, and they had these poles on them, sort of tied to them, affixed. And curiosity got the better of me. What's that idea there? So the fire department can find the fire hydrant when it's snowing. Okay, it makes a lot of sense, but I had no idea what it did. So, you know, as I said here, it's warming up a little bit now, and earlier on it was 18 degrees, as I mentioned earlier, a while back, but I guess it's probably getting up around, it's increased. Yeah, it's 19 degrees now, so it's slowly warming up, and we've got a maximum of 27 degrees today, so yeah, it'll be a nice, pleasant day. Okay, we mentioned the USA, and I can't recall if I mentioned this before on this channel, but another tour is coming up this year of the USA, and it's confirmed. I paid for my airfares, and I leave Australia on Sunday, September 29th, and fly to LAX. So I arrive at about 6:30 in the morning at LAX, and then I'll be getting off that plane and hopefully let through customs because I'll have the goat with me. And then I'll be heading to Union Station in LA, and I'll be jumping on the Pacific Surfliner, which those of you would probably know is a train that runs down the west coast there to San Diego. And I'll be going down to San Diego for 5 nights. And then I think it's on the 5th of October, going to a place in Long Beach, California, which is probably, I don't know, just under a 2-hour drive, hour and 3/4 drive in that LA traffic. We went last time to a private arcade and have a tour of that and have a look, catch up with some friends there. And then we'll be flying on the 6th. I think it's the 4th, actually. It's the 4th we're going to that arcade. Then the 5th, we've got a day to spare. On the 6th, at 6:30 in the morning, we leave LA and fly over to New York and New York City. And from there, we'll be going to visit a few places around. Not 100% sure, but we do know for a fact, in certain, that we'll be going up in the train on the Metro North up to Poughkeepsie. We'll be going to visit the Pinball Resource again, and also a guy, our good friend Dave Matrando, is taking us to his house to have a look at his arcade, and he's also taking us to a brewery or some sort, I think it is, and we look forward to that. So it's a nice train trip up the Hudson River. If you like a lot of places, if you're in the US and you're around that area, you ever want to take a train, it's a beautiful train trip up the Hudson River. You go past over the other side, there's the West Point Military Academy. You go past that Sing Sing Jail, which is in Ossington, or however you say it. And, and you end through Tarrytown, and you end up in Poughkeepsie, which is like an old New England style town, I think. Oh, hello, we're in trouble here. What's going on? Graham and Spanky are watching live from the Hoey Moey Pinball Festival. Okay, so they're there. And as I mentioned earlier, there'll be a video going up a little later on. It's still set up there now. And on the Facebook page. So anyone wants to have a look at that, hopefully they'll do that. I think they're waiting for another guy from our area to come up there anyway and do that. We were going to think about a live cross, but it's a little awkward. We don't know what the bandwidth's like up there and everything like that. Anyway, getting back to the USA, once we leave New York, I think we've got 4 nights in New York. It's not long enough, but it'll have to do. I really, really like New York City. It's probably one of the most iconic cities in the world, and also one of the most expensive, I might add. But yeah, there's so many great attractions. I've been up the Empire State Building. I've been up One Vanderbilt. I've walked the Brooklyn Bridge, and probably do that again. Because Craig, the guy that I travel with, didn't get to do it last time. We've navigated the subway system over there, which is quite simple to do. I understand now that the single subway ride's gone up from $2.75 to $3, and they've installed new systems. I'm not sure if you can still use your Metro card. Does anybody know if you can still use the Metro card? I've got one, or I did have one somewhere. Don't know what I've done with it. No. Oh, it's at home. I know, it's in a safe place at home. Got to have a Metro card. Easy enough to buy anyway. They're not difficult to get. So from New York, we're going to rent a vehicle and drive to York in Pennsylvania. We might go via that arcade on the boardwalk in New Jersey. Its name just escapes me at the moment. It's all time, like we do a fair bit of travelling over there. But on the Thursday, we'll arrive. So what did I say? We arrive in New York on the 6th. I think that's a Tuesday, Monday, whatever it is. I've got it all written down here. Anyway, we'll drive to the White Rose Game Room show, get there on the Thursday afternoon late, and that set up day, we'll go and say g'day, hi, hello, how are you to everyone. And on the Friday and Saturday that show goes over. So on the Sunday we'll leave and we're going to go over to Ohio. We might try and go to Bingo Butcher's Museum in Pottsville again. It's a little bit out of the road. I think it was northwest of York. I could be wrong there, or it might be due north. And then head over to Ohio, stay in Youngstown, and get up the next morning and go to the Pastimes Arcade in Girard. We did go there in 2022 when we were there, but it wasn't officially open. It only opened, I think, around about April last year. It's only been open 12 months. So then from there, we're going to go to Michigan. We probably stop in Michigan overnight there and then do some stuff. And we might even get to catch up with our old friend Clayton Harrell. If he's available, he might be going over to Expo. And then we'll drive over to Chicago, and we're staying in Schaumburg at the Renaissance where the Pinball Expo is being held. This is the 40th Pinball Expo that they've run. I think it's the longest running pinball show in the world, and rightly so, in the home of pinball, Chicago. It's changed venues a few times, and the first time I went there, it was at the Western in where was it? Wheeling, I think it is. Wheeling, yeah. And now Schaumburg. Yeah. So we'll be doing another talk there. If anyone's coming along, come and say hello to us. You'll see I'll be walking around mostly in my goat shed shirt. Probably better get a couple of new ones before I go over. And say g'day. We'll be sort of doing an intimate evening with the goat shed and Spanky. Or Goat Shed Ramblings. I can't remember what I'm going to call it. They all want to know all this stuff, and it's 5 months away, but that'll go very quickly. And then when Expo finishes, I think that finishes on the Saturday. On the Sunday, we're going to go up to New Berlin in Wisconsin to another private arcade. This guy has an amazing collection of stuff. We'll go, and then my friend, that'll be about the 20th of October, and on the 21st of October, my friend Craig, who I travel with, he has to come back to Australia for work and family commitments, but I'll be staying on, so I'll be going to stay at the Milsner Farm in Rockford, Illinois for, I think, 3 or 4 days. And when I finish there, I'll be flying back down to San Diego via Seattle. Now, I've yet to make up my mind if I want to stop over in Seattle. I sort of haven't done that yet, but I guess I'll have to make up my mind. And I wouldn't mind seeing, I think that's where the Needle is, and if my geography serves me correctly, Seattle in Washington, it's sort of straight on top of San Francisco, up above it, isn't it? So yeah, I'll go there, but I'll end up back in San Diego, and then on the 30th of October, I leave Australia, and I get back into Australia, because you leave 30th of October, you leave like at 11 o'clock at night, and because you do that, by the time you get over the international date line, you've missed a day. So I actually get back to Sydney Mascot Airport on November 1st. So a big trip. We're looking forward to it. We're all pumped and excited. Spanky's excited. He wants to drink more Yangling beer. So just remember, everybody, it's up near Canada. Thanks, Jim. Just remember, everybody, When you buy Spanky a beer, he drinks Yangling. If he can't have that, if it's not available in the current state that he's in, he will drink Miller's Genuine Draft. But he's not real keen on Coors. I'll just tell you that. So I mentioned earlier the jobs we've got coming up, or no, I didn't. I mentioned the jobs we've done this month. A couple of things we're going to be doing. We're just going to be finishing off this spinner card. Like, as I said, pretty happy with it now. We had a little intermittent fault with it, which was a little bit annoying. And that simply was the fact that when you hit the center target, when specials were a lot, it wouldn't pay the special. We sort of tracked that down to a higher resistance in the circuit, and I think we mentioned that in the video we did on spinner card, and that seems to have fixed it. I played it again first thing this morning when I got to the goat shed, and it's working. And you can hear it's got all the bells in it. Remember, we had those of you that watch, we had a Royal Guard in here about 4 weeks ago, and it had no bells in it, and it just sounded terrible. I mean, those bells and the big donger bell in them, they sound fabulous. So this one's got all the bells. So the guy's going to sell this. Good on him. So the same customer, he bought these machines here in Newcastle, where a guy imported them from the States, and they were all bought at Captain's Auction, which I think's in California somewhere. So the same guy, when he gets this back, we haven't told him it's ready yet. Well, it's not quite ready, but we've got to add it. That's what we've got to do. We've got to put an earth from the transformer to the front area of the machine, front door. So we'll do that. Gottlieb 4 Seasons, that's what he's got. That's the next job we're going to get. And before the weather gets too cold, Graham is going to do the lightning ball, the Gottlieb lightning ball from 1959. We've shown you a bit about that in our Facebook page, and we did a YouTube clip on it in December 2022, I think it was, where we did the motorboard and we showed you some faults and everything, how to spot some faults on it. And he's going to do the rails, the wood rails, and the stenciling of the cabinet. We've had the cabinet here for a while, so we'll be happy to get that going, and we've got to get the playfield touched up by our friend Nathan. So that's something else we've got to do. And then apart from that, anything else that comes in, you all of a sudden think that you're on top of everything, and next thing, everything's gone. You haven't got any work, but yeah, it just pops up. Now, from time to time, we do our Chamber of Horrors, and we like to advertise or present these at our training courses we were talking about a while ago. And I just want to show you a couple of things here. This was from Spinner Card. I hope you can focus on that. I can see the thing trying to do it. You can see all the burn marks here, and that's just about burnt through, and all the carbonisation in the tracks. I see a bit of it lifted off there. You can, I can't see that, can you? But it's just lifting off, and the carbon gets in the tracks. Now, apparently that's caused by the arcing of the blade moving around the lamp voltage. As that's passing, that's the lamp side for the cards. It arcs badly, and you get the burning. Possibly if it had PBR grease on it, I'm not sure if that had happened, but I wrote to Tim Meehan about this, because he's really experienced on the early 70s Gottliebs. And I said, well, I thought it was caused by the armature. They had this funny armature plate in it. I've got one of those around here somewhere. But he said, no, it's the arcing. Here's another thing we had on Spinner Card. So there's no sort of point on there. It's sort of worn down across the front. I know it's difficult to see. So what someone did innovatively, they put a bit of playfield plastic on there and made a point. So if I turn it around that way, you can just see that area there where the point is that they've made, and that worked. But you wouldn't believe it. And so those screws normally aren't there, and there's a nut on the back, and they've filed that down so it fitted. They've gone to a lot of trouble, because I emailed Pinball Resource, and that part, I think it was A11009 or something like that, is no longer available. I wrote that down. Just A11009 is a part number. But Steve Young at PBR said he could fabricate me one, and I could pick it up when I went up there. But Graham said, I got some of them somewhere. Oh yeah, have you? I'd never seen them. And he searched, and he was determined. He found them. Well, he found one, and that was it. So we fitted that into that guy's machine. So that's pretty good. Maybe the customer probably won't appreciate it, but the guy sort of intimated this machine all worked. Oh, it's all good. It works. It's fabulous. But no, it wasn't really working properly. It was not performing very well at all. But, it lights up and the flippers work. So I think and his kids were playing it. They were happy. That's the main thing. Here's another one we had. I think this was on a pro football. So what we had, you can sort of see the gap. I'm going to point me. See that coming through? That's worn. So that switch, the switch blade in that was all really loose. It was one of those really loose switch contact pads on the blade, and we had to fix that up. And then when we pulled it out to fix it, we noticed that. So obviously the arcing had sort of burnt that hole in it. It's pretty bad. We changed the ladder. We got plenty of them. So, they're the things you've got to look out for. You just don't know what you're going to find on these machines. And that was pro football. And, just a minute ago, we were talking about spinner card. Now that was 69. So that's what, 55 years old. I'm not real good at maths. I think that's about right. 55 years old. Someone just said, Scuba TV, someone did mention a person that could print those. They would have had to design the file and everything, and they gave us a cost to do it. But because we ended up finding one, that's okay. But yeah, and I think, in all honesty, you could possibly even fix this one, this old one. We could probably file that down a bit, because you've got a bit of, it's the height is governed by that, where that fits in, but you might have been able to get a bit out of here. I'm not sure. Like, I'd have to play with it and that. But yeah, we got that fixed up by putting the new one in. Have a look at our video we did on it. So there's 2 videos on spinner card. There's one about the spin unit. I think it's called Demystifying Gottlieb's spin unit, and then there's another one on going through the machine and some of the troubles we found with it. So just another technical tip for you. Here's an old flipper plunger and link, really badly worn. So we always change those. Don't throw these away. Keep them, because what you're able to do is make things like these links. Now, yes, I get it. You can buy them. But what happened, and there's another homemade one, they came out of my Williams 1964 soccer, and the slingshots just hadn't been working well. And in the winter, it's not my pinball machines are in my garage, and you look up at the roof here on this shed, you can see in the picture, that's a tin roof. Well, mine's like that as well. It gets a bit hot in the old Australian summer, but now it's cooling down. I can get down, and this winter I'll wax all my play fields and do any little minor things I've got to do to my machines. But what I found is that you can see here, I've got some wear just there, and let's see. You can just sort of see. Because the links were a bit too short, the plunger was coming up, that's the plunger fits on there, and hitting that like this. There it is. The plunger was actually building into it. Can you see that? Sorry. And that was what's causing that. So we've made new ones, and I'm going to put them in probably on Monday and just see how they go. But yeah, always keep those, always, if you want to make your own stuff. Now, the pin that goes through there is just that pin there, that roll pin, that's just a 1/8 inch. So just get a 1/8 inch pin punch, Stanley set or something. You can get them at Home Depot or Lowe's or what's it called? Harbour Freight. We don't have that here. We have Bunnings, but it's really hard to get Imperial stuff. I've mentioned this 100 times before. Here in Australia, it's very, very difficult to get. You can buy it off Amazon and stuff like that. But whenever I go to America, if I need anything Imperial, I generally buy it. And this time, we haven't used many, but when I'm in Rockford, Illinois, I'll be visiting, I remember the name, Nicholson's Hardware. And the guy there is super, super friendly. Can't remember his name, Mr. Nicholson. I think it's a 2nd generation or 3rd generation hardware store, really old school. Walk in, very friendly people, you know. And I bought, like a set of nut drivers there, a set of Klein nut drivers. And I bought some roll pins, and he had every size I wanted. And they were cheap, you know, so I was happy to buy them and pay for them. And even if we don't use them all, we've got them, and that's pretty good. So what else can we show you in the Chamber of Horrors? Did I have something else out? I've shown you the burnt out, yeah, board. What else? Anything else? Yeah. There's a reset arm off a Gottlieb stepper. There's 3 different styles of those. Some have another arm coming out here where your plunger hooks onto, but this was out of a player unit. Now, simply, that groove is not supposed to be in there. Oh, that's just worn down. That's supposed to be full of metal. So we obviously changed that. So that groove, that's the reset arm that goes in and checks the travel of the escapement wheel, or checks it on step back, clips in, and yeah, she was badly worn. So that's another thing you got to look for. That's why I'm very, how would I say, I don't know, fussy, adamant about people that do Band-Aid fixes. Now, there's people out there that give advice, and I won't mention their name, but they suggest that getting a bit of isopropyl on a Q-tip and jiggling it backwards and forwards will free it up. It will. It sure will. No question about it. However, there's still old grease and gunk on those. Like, take these, take the reset arm again. That's the reset arm where the famous pivot screw goes through the hole, you know, the one where if you don't undo the nut on the back, the pivot screw will break. Particularly, Gottlieb put a lot of the shoulder screws, they put this white grease on them. Yeah, you'll be able to jiggle that round and free it up, or put a bit of isopropyl on one of here and free it up. Yeah, that'll work, no trouble. But it's what you call a Band-Aid solution. It's not the right thing to do. It won't last. And particularly if you're going to keep the machine, or even if you're doing a repair, have some pride in your workmanship. Do it right. Do it once. Don't you agree? Well, I don't really care if you don't, to be honest with you. I believe that's the way to do it. And that's the way I was taught by tradesmen when I was doing my apprenticeship. You get a kick up the bum if you didn't do it the way you were shown. And you'd also get a kick up the bum if you said to the tradesman you understood everything he just told you and you got it wrong, horribly wrong the second time round that you were given to do it. Do it right or don't do it at all, Scuba TV says. Well, that's very true too. that philosophy is great. And Jim says, get a welder to weld that space up. Yeah, mate, you could do that, but the great news is that we've got a fair few old steppers, and we bought some of those off PBR. They were second hand, which I didn't realise, but maybe he'll get to a point where he'll have to make them. But yeah, of course you could get it welded. We have actually seen that before. So Scuba TV said to hi to Graham and Spanky. And Graham responded, yeah, Scuba, Graham and Spanky are away. You may have joined us a little late. They're in Coffs Harbour drinking beer and having fun. Left me here to do all the work. But that's okay. I'm not doing much work today anyway. I'm talking to all you good people. So when we visit the USA, if anyone wants to catch up and say hi, buy Spanky a beer, shake his hand, York will be one good place to be. In Pennsylvania, the White Rose Game Room Show, he'll definitely be there on the Friday, Saturday. And Pinball Expo in Schomburg, he'll be there pretty much for the 4 days, maybe 3, just depends if we get something else that we'd like to do. As I say, it's limited time that we've got to spend in the USA. It's a big country. I really like to get over to South Carolina and meet Joe and Ronnie Lyons from Lyons Arcade. That would be really cool, but I just won't have time this particular trip. Hopefully I can make a few other trips. I was just looking up, getting quotes on travelers insurance yesterday, and because I'm now over 70, up goes the insurance. I think you're going to drop dead or something, I guess. One quote was $1,000, the other one was about $800, and you just got to weigh them all up and assess what you get for your money. And if you get the same for $850 as what you get for $1,100, well, you're probably going to go for the $850 for sure and certain. But it's expensive, and we're rather hoping that the Australian dollar goes up against the greenback. It's only at about 65 cents at the moment. It got up to 66 the other day. But if it could go over 70, that's much more palatable, because it makes a hell of a difference when you're over there. Last time I think I said getting $300 out of the ATM. This is in 2022. With my card, my debit card that I use here, cost me, when you got looked at your statement, was about 480 Australian dollars. So it gets expensive. So yeah, it's just nice to be able to spend a bit more money in the USA, help the economy over there, and help yourself a little bit better with saving a bit of cash. So who else we got here? So Scuba TV, I don't know that you've ever joined us before. Where are you from, if you don't mind me asking, please? And anyone else want to say hello? Because Graham and Spanky are watching. You still there, Spanky? No, he's probably gone to the bar. Drunken goat. Skanky's missing you. Look, hang on. She's not happy. Not happy at all. Look at the look on her face. Yeah, she got dressed up in a Sunday best to see you, and yeah, he don't care. All right, well, as I mentioned earlier, we've got the spinner card almost done. So once we get rid of that, we'll be able to tell the guy, look, you can bring around your Four Seasons, and then we can get into that. So Four Seasons, I think, is from 1969 as well. Yeah, it was. I think it was the machine made immediately before spinner card. I think we looked that up the other day. And wow, not often you get to work on two machines sort of made together. I suppose it doesn't mean much at all, but we haven't worked on a Four Seasons before, so something different for sure. Look forward to that. Indeed. All right. So has anyone got any questions or queries or anything at all? Bear in mind this is all going to go on our YouTube channel anyway. Immediately after we finish the broadcast, we're sort of planning on doing a video on how to hook springs on. That's the other thing I was going to tell you. I've got some things written down here, but I've also got things in me slow mind here. One of our friends from Pennsylvania, Dave Lipinski, he's a great guy. He's got wood rails and stuff, and he's got his kids, his younger daughter, working or doing artwork on the pinball machines, painting and learning how to solder. And his son is into it, which is great. You know, they're only young. And he said, look, is there a proper way would you consider doing a video on a proper way to fit springs? Well, I thought that's not a bad idea. Yeah, we will. And I think what he's probably meaning is some of the more difficult ones, but there is a right and a wrong way to fit springs on. So we'll do a video on how to put the springs in the drop target mechs, on the steppers, how to fit them back onto the relays, trip banks, how they go, and show you some of the tools that are best used to fit springs on, and some little innovative ideas that you can come up with to assist you doing that. I don't know if anyone else thinks that's useful or not, but I guess I can consider doing that. Anyone that has any suggestions about videos, we welcome your inquiry. I mean, you can comment in the comments below the video, or you can ask us on our Facebook group. You can send me a message on Facebook, and even if we're not friends, I'll still see your message most likely, because the way that they do that now, Facebook or Meta, is a lot more intuitive, and you get to know that someone's actually messaged you. Just talking about that, we occasionally get people message either Graham or myself about fixing things. Look, thanks very much. That's appreciated. What we really prefer to do is have those questions put up on our Facebook group. That way, everybody can see the question and everybody can learn from the answers. And we've got a few people in our group that help you out quite readily, and they're quite active in the group. Sometimes people ask questions in the United States, so those questions are generally asked your daytime, which is our nighttime. We're probably in bed. And some of our friends either in the United States or Canada will answer those questions. If they haven't, sometimes we'll see them the next day and we'll get back to you. But because they're in the Facebook group, it helps everyone understand the problem and see what the problem is and see what the result was, or the resolve even, I should say. Because a lot of people may have had that problem. You see so many people, oh, I'm following this, I've got that problem too. Now, we had a question yesterday about a game, I can't remember what it was, but someone was having a problem with, what were they having a problem with? An intermittent problem in a kick-out hole and occasionally in the out hole. Now, out holes and kick-out holes are similar in circuitry, but often you look at that and you'll see a link between the two in the schematic. So I suggested they look at the schematic and check and clean every switch, or even jumper. Because if it's intermittent, it could even be in the score motor, and someone even said that they thought it could be the score motor overrunning. An overrunning score motor, if it'll instead of stopping, the clutch or the armature keeps engaged instead of freeing up because it's sticking on a shaft. That can cause the score motor to go past its home position and open switches that aren't supposed to be open. We did a real little video on that. It goes for about 50, 60 seconds on Williams score motors, overrunning a Williams score motor. So have a look at that. That's good. But what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, everyone should benefit from knowing problems, and because PMs and that just aren't any good. Some people go and do private video help for people. That's great, fine. We can't control that. That's great. But it'd be really good if the person who got that help would, number one, A, thank the person who helped them, and B, tell everyone what the matter or what the problem ended up being. Because it often starts in the Facebook group, but it ends privately and no one gets to hear. And I often say, hey, how did you go with it? Oh, so-and-so helped me. That's great. Okay. So Scuba TV lives in Neffs at first he said in PA, but I know where PA is. I know it's Pennsylvania. But yeah, so maybe we'll see you at York, Scuba TV. Will you be going to the York White Rose Game Room show? Yeah, thanks, Jim. We will take care. Jim lives in Abbottstown. I think it is Abbottstown, Pennsylvania. And I've caught up with Jim each time I've gone to America. At York, there's a really lot of nice people there. Just Jim Holder, Knox Patton Jr., Tom Considine, his brother Steve, and all the bingo guys. They have Bingo Row there, so you have, of course, you have Bingo Butch, his son Mike Glauder. You have Phil Bagima, you have Steve Smith, and you have Nick Baldridge, who makes his own bingos and pinballs and that these days. Ryan Claytor, he's, from Michigan State University. He's a professor of comic books up there. He's a nice guy. Him and Nick Baldridge have done a little booklet on pinballs together a couple of years ago. And I mentioned a guy called Phil Baguma earlier on. We're going to hook up with Phil at York. And I think he's going to come with us to Chicago, or he's going to meet us there, one or the other, and hang with us in Schaumburg, and and he'll get to meet my friend Bob Milsner, who we're going to go and stay at his farm in Rockford we were talking about earlier on. So you get to meet a whole heap of really nice people over in the USA, and even though some of us have never met in person, we can always meet here in YouTube, I should say, hey. And or on Facebook in our group. Now, I mentioned about do it right, do it once. There's also the look, listen, and learn philosophy as well. We all learn something off each other every day, and I know I do. I read some of the comments and things in the different Facebook groups, the EM groups, and oh yeah, that's not a bad idea, and that's how you learn. We all learn off each other. It's not as if the factories are all still going and you can go and visit the factory and talk to the engineers and that. Although I do have the honor of knowing personally an ex-Gottlieb designer engineer, which is John Osborne. I'll visit his house with his wife Jan, and we'll talk pinball and play his games. And he built his own pinball machine even when he was an electrical engineering student at university, and he didn't even know he'd end up in the pinball industry. And he's got some great stories to tell, as well. And while these people are still with us and we can learn, sadly Wayne Nyans died at 104 back in 2022. I only ever get to speak to Wayne on the telephone, and that was an honour. to meet the man would have been even better, but it just wasn't possible. We were supposed to go and meet him he lived in a place called Mountain Home in Arkansas. We were up in Chicago, and we looked at the logistics of getting to Mountain Home from Chicago and back, and it just wasn't possible, unfortunately. So we had to give it a miss. But anyway, I got to speak to the great man on the phone, and I didn't get to meet the likes of Steve Kordak or Norm Clark. My friend Craig, he got to meet them earlier on in the piece. They're no longer with us. So while those of the people that could have taught us a lot are not here, hopefully their knowledge has been passed on to other people who still can. All right. Does anyone have any further questions they'd like to ask us or comments they'd like to make? I'll give you a moment to do that. I think that we'll probably end this very shortly. We've been live for about just on an hour, and the sun's shining a lot more out there now. So, yeah. Oh, Scuba Tuber says, you never know it all to the day you die. Yeah, well, I think that's true as well. For sure we don't. And that's why, like I say, this particular hobby, a lot of people get a lot of information for free, and that's great. But it's important that we support those that help keep the hobby going, and they're the people like the Pinball Resource. We have to support those guys because, you know, some people say, oh, he's hard to deal with or order from. Well, so what? He's old school. That's the way it is. And without him, you may not have your machine going. He's the guy that largely makes most of the coils for the pinball machines. You do have a couple of other coil, or one other coil manufacturer that I know of in Chicago. That's APB Enterprises. That's Andrew Barney. He makes coils. Marco Specialties sell them. So, schematics, people whinge about buying those. Hey, I think they're 16 or 17 US dollars by the time we have to buy them and get them posted over here. We're probably 30, 35 Australian dollars. So don't whinge about the price and support the people. He had to pay for the license to do this. And if you're in America or even Canadians say, oh, it's dear to get stuff from America. Well, okay, I get it. It's dearer to get it from Australia. But if you need it, you got to get it, haven't you? So that's the way it is. And support people, and look at all the resources that are available for pinball. And just to name a few, we spoke about Mark Gibson's Fun with Pinball. Mark's got some fabulous resources on his website. That's just funwithpinball.com, I think, or funwithpinball.net. I can't remember, but just type Fun with Pinball. PinWiki. Now, PinWiki's got some terrific stuff on there, and not a lot of people use it. I know my friend Chris Hibbler's got something to do with that, and he actually links some of our videos where he saw prudent to his commentary in PinWiki. Like there's one on the Gottlieb ball count unit, one on the Gottlieb rat trap score reels, and I think there's one other. And he did that because he said, he felt that our ball count unit video in particular and our rat trap score reel were excellent. And Spanky thought that too because he produced and directed that video. So yeah, we've got to support those type of people and look at these resources. PinWiki is free. I know you've got EM Pinball Facebook group, our Facebook group. You have Pinside. There's some fairly knowledgeable people on there too. I don't go on Pinside very often for some reason, but I just, you know what it is? I just don't like people who've got handles as names. You don't know who you're talking to. You're talking to Last Ball 58. I mean, who the hell's that? I don't know. But but there's some, often people put links up when someone's asked a question. Oh, this is available on Pinside, or so on and so forth. Well, that's great. It may well be. So Cliff is asking, how's the Hoey Moey going? Cliff, they were online a little while ago, but it's, I think what happened, our friend from Newcastle here, Gary Hudson, is taking his Gottlieb target pool up there, and he was on track to arrive there at about, I think, around about 9 or 10 a.m. So they're probably helping him unload that game and get it set up. It won't be long before our Pinfest is on here in September. Pinfest will be on in September here in Australia, in Newcastle, at Club Macquarie. It's only 5 minutes from us here. And I think the following weekend is the weekend I leave to go to the USA. So that's only 5 months away. So there you go. All right. So no one's got any more questions. Let's see. I just, did I miss anyone? I'll just go back through these questions. Jim Chuck. Yeah, Graham, they were on at 9:23, Cliff. And then a guy said g'day to them at 9:29, and then they answered at 9:32, but we haven't heard zilch from them since. So, you know what, Cliff? They're probably at the bar. Because you know why? It's free drinks up there for anyone that supplied a pinball machine. So there. Yep. I'm off to the USA again. Yep. All pumped and ready to go. So the chap that I'm talking to now, people, he's from a place, Townsville, which is, it's about 1,000 kilometres north of us, so a long way away. He comes down to our Pinfest every year, him and his colleagues. All right, we've been on the air now almost an hour and 8 minutes. So I think what we might do now is we might say to ourselves, this is it. So thanks so very much for watching. We're happy to have you here in our shed, and we'll try and broadcast from the shed as much as we can now. Now we know it's sort of working. I just thought I'd try that today to see what happened. And yeah, it works. Okay. Bye for now, everybody. We'll see you again next month.